Welcome to my YouTube channel. Myself Ujjal Baro. I have already uploaded regarding the research methodology part 1 video, but the sound is not clear in the video, so again I am going to upload this lectures video on the research methodology. So these are the content I am going to discuss in this lectures video. So first is the what is research objectives, important aspects during research. So the researcher have to mind it, and then motivational factors in conducting research, and then the characteristics of research. So what is research? According to Criswell, research is a process of steps used to collect and analyze information to increase our understanding of a topic or issue. So it is a process of inquiry and investigation. It is a systematic and methodical, and it also increases knowledge. And Cook has beautifully outlined research as an honest, exhaustive and intelligent search for facts and their meanings or implications related to a specific problem. So these definitions emphasizes several key aspects of research. First is the honesty, means research must be conducted with integrity, ensuring that findings are reported truthfully and without bias. And then exhaustiveness, a thorough explorations of the topics is essential, considering all relevant data and perspectives to gain a comprehensive understanding. And then intelligence is a critical thinking and analytical skills that are crucial in interpreting data and deriving meaningful insights. And then focus on meaning. So it's not just about collecting facts. Research seeks to understand the significance and implications of those facts in relation to the problem at hand. So by framing research in this way, Cook underscores its importance as a disciplined approach to problem solving that combines rigor, integrity and depth of understanding. And then Cook's acronym for research encapsulates its fundamental qualities and processes. First is the rational way of thinking. So research requires logical reasoning and structured thought process to develop hypotheses and draw conclusions based on evidence. And then E stands for expert and exhaustive treatment. So it emphasizes the need for thorough investigations and the involvement of knowledgeable individuals to ensure comprehensive coverage of the subject. And then S stands for search and solutions. So research is not just about gathering information, it aims to find solutions to a specific problem through systematic inquiry. And then E stands for exactness. So precision in methodology, data collections and reporting is crucial to ensure the reliability of findings. And then A stands for analysis. So it involves critically evaluating the data to uncover patterns, trends, insights that can inform conclusions. And then R stands for relationship of facts. So research seeks to understand how different pieces of information are interconnected, providing a broader context for the findings. And then C stands for critical observation, careful planning, constructive attitude and condensed generalization. So this highlights the importance of thoughtful observations, meticulous planning, a positive approach to challenges and the ability to summarize findings actively. And then last but not the least, so it's honesty and hard work. So integrity in research is paramount, alongside the dedication and effort required to conduct meaningful inquiry. So together these elements define the essence of research as a rigorous and principled process aimed at generating knowledge and solving problems. And then we use scientific methods to do research. So what is scientific methods in research. So according to Random House dictionary, in scientific method, a problem is identified and then relevant data are gathered and then hypothesis is formulated and it's empirically tested. So observations, identifying a problem based on observations. There are lots of and then questions, formulating a research questions based on the problem, and then hypothesis, proposing a testable statement, experimentations, gathering and analyzing data to test the hypothesis and drawing conclusion based on the analysis, determining whether the hypothesis is supported or not. So identifying a problem, gathering relevant data, formulating a hypothesis and empirical testing is an essential step in the scientific method that is given by the Random House dictionary. So let's break this down using an example related to a study on academic library users satisfactions. So first, identifying the problem. So the first step is to identify a specific issue or questions. For example, researcher may notice that library users has decreased over the past few years and want to explore user satisfactions with library services. So problem statements would be the what factor influence the satisfactions of user and the academic library, and then steps 2, gathering relevant data. So next, researcher need to gather the data that will help them understand the problem. So this can involve both qualitative and quantitative methods. So there are different types of data gathering methods. First is the surveys, distributing questionnaire to library users to assess their satisfaction level regarding services, resources and facilities, and then interviews are there. So conducting in-depth interview with a sample of users to gain deeper insights into their experiences, and then observation. So observing library users pattern and interactions at the library to collect behavioral data, and then formulating a hypothesis. So based on the gathered data, existing literature, researcher can formulate a hypothesis. A hypothesis is testable statement predicting an outcome. So for example, students who use online resources offered by the library report higher satisfaction levels than those who primarily use physical resources. So that is the hypothesis, and then empirical testing. The next step is to empirically test the hypothesis through data analysis. This involves analyzing the data collected from surveys or interviews to determine if there is a significant difference in satisfaction level based on resource uses. So there are different testing methods are there. So statistical analysis, using statistical tests like the t-test or ANOVA to analyze survey results and compare satisfaction scores between users of online and physical resources. And then data interpretation, interpreting the results to see if they support or refute the hypothesis. So by following the scientific method, research can systematically address the problem of academic library users satisfaction. So that we have taken example to understand the scientific method, so ensuring that their findings are valid and reliable. So this approach provides a structured framework for inquiry, allowing for meaningful conclusions and practical recommendations. So this is the meaning of the research. And then research objectives. So research objectives are specific, clear statements that outline the intended goals of a study. They define what the researcher aims to achieve, guiding the directions of the research process. Well-defined objectives helps to focus the investigation, inform the methodology, and clarify the expected outcomes. So essentially, they serve as a roadmap for the research, ensuring that the study remains aligned with its intended purpose. So we will understand these research objectives in the perspective of library information science. So acquire understanding of a new phenomenon or enhance insight into an existing one. So this involves studying emerging trends, technologies, or user behaviors in libraries. So for example, a librarian studies the impact of digital libraries on user engagement. They observe how patrons interact with e-books versus physical books and gather insights about user preferences. And then assess and integrate current knowledge. So it means reviewing existing literature and practice to understand the current state of the field. So for example, a researcher conducts a literature review on information literacy program in academic libraries, synthesizing findings to identify best practices and gaps in the current knowledge, and then examine an existing situations or problem. So it means investigating specific issues faced by libraries or their users. For example, a study is conducted to understand why certain library services are underutilized, such as interlibrary loan, through user surveys, and focus groups, and then propose solutions to identify issues. So it means based on findings, suggesting actionable solutions to improve library services. For example, after identifying that users find the library catalog difficult to navigate, a librarian develops a user-friendly interface and provides training sessions to improve access to resources. You can take example as opaque online public access catalog. So today's digital days, many software provide this type of service. Then investigate and analyze broader topics. So exploring larger themes that affect libraries such as societal trends or policy changes. For example, researching the effects of open access policies on scholarly communication and how they influence library acquisition strategies and user access to resources. And then develop a design a new procedural system. So it means creating new methods or systems to enhance library operation or services. For example, implementing a new digital reference system that allows user to ask questions via chat or text, increasing accessibility support for patrons. And then produce new knowledge. So conducting original research that contribute to field of any you deserve to conduct research in particular field. So conducting original research that contributes to the field of library information science. For example, a librarian conducts a study on the effectiveness of amplifications in promoting library events and publishes the findings, providing valuable insights into the engagement strategies. So these points illustrate the various ways in which professionals in library and information science can engage with their field to improve services, address challenges, and contribute to the body of knowledge. So we have understand the research objective in the perspective of the library and information science. And then important aspects during research. So we have to mind when we are going to do research. So first is the result come from an ongoing inquiry. So research is not a one-time effort. It involves continuous questioning and re-evaluations of findings. We can understand, for example, a librarian studying user engagement with digital resources continuously assesses feedbacks and uses data. This ongoing inquiry leads to iterative improvements in services, such as refining the digital interface based on user experience. And then thinking outside conventional frameworks can be challenging. So researchers often find it difficult to break free from established ways of thinking or existing paradigms. For example, a researcher in library science attempts to explore the integrations of virtual reality in library services. So, however, they may initially struggle to move beyond traditional methods of engagement like workshops and lectures to envision innovative applications of virtual reality. And then significant experimental effort is often required for meaningful discoveries. So achieving impactful results usually demands sustained and rigorous experimentation. For example, a study on the effectiveness of different teaching methods for information literacy requires extensive testing with various groups over time. So the researcher must invest considerable effort to track outcome, refine the methods, and draw meaningful conclusion. And last but not the least, so many individuals may not possess the necessary depth of knowledge for effective research. Conducting in-depth research often requires specialized knowledge that not everyone has. So for example, a library staff member interested in conducting research on citation practices may lack the advanced understanding of bibliometrics and research metrics needed to design a robust study. So this gap highlights the need for ongoing professional development in research methods for library professionals. So this example illustrates the complexities and challenges that researchers face, emphasizing the importance of continuous inquiry, innovating thinking, rigorous effort, and specialized knowledge in the research process. So these are the important aspects that the researcher have to mind during the research. And then motivational factor in conducting research. So to earn a research degree, this is and enjoy the associated rewards. So achieving a research degree such as PhD or masters, bringing not only academic recognitions but also professional advancement. For instance, obtaining a PhD computer science can open door to leadership positions in tech companies or prestigious roles in academia. So it also increases the potential for salary growth and recognitions as an expert in the field. And then to tackle the challenges of addressing unresolved issues, so researchers are often driven by the opportunity to confront complex and unexplored problems. For example, a biologist might focus on developing treatment for rare disease, while a data scientist could work on creating algorithms to improve cybersecurity. So the challenges of solving these issues motivates them to persist in their work and discover meaningful solution. And then to experience the intellectual fulfillment or pioneering new ideas. So the process of developing original concepts and pushing the method boundaries of knowledge provides deep intellectual satisfaction. For instance, an engineer creating a new sustainable energy system or an astronomer discovering a new exoplanet experiences a profound sense of accomplishment. So the joy of contributing innovative work to their field drives their passion for research. So these are the motivational factors in conducting research. Now the characteristics of research. So there are different characteristics. So let's break down it. In the field of, we will try to understand in the field of academic library. So objectivity in research means keeping the study free from personal biases and subjective influence. So for instance, a researcher studying how students use digital resources in the library needs to ensure that data collections methods such as survey or observations are neutral. They might use procedural safeguards like anonymous surveys and standardized questions to maintain objectivity. So here are further divided into 4 categories. So that is the procedural. First is the procedural safeguard. So ensuring confidentiality, it means ensuring confidentiality of user responses to encourage honest feedback. And then standardization, so using the same set of questions and procedures for every participant that are going to conduct research. Then operationalization of concepts, clearly defining what effective use of digital resources means in measurable terms, such as the number of times an e-books is accessed, and then avoiding bias. So designing the study in a way that personal preferences or assumptions do not affect the data collections or analysis. So now the reliability. So reliability refers to the consistency of the research result. If the study is repeated under the same conditions, it should yield similar result. So if a researcher surveys students on how often they use library databases and repeats the survey a month later with the same group, the results should be consistent provided the conditions have not significantly changed. So that is the second characteristics of the research, that is reliability. And then validity. So validity is about ensuring the research accurately measure what it intended to measure. So there are different types of validity. First is the internal validity, ensuring that the outcomes of the study are genuinely caused by the variables being studied. So for example, to understand this internal validity, if the study is about the impact of library training sessions on database use, so internal validity ensures that any increase in database use is due to the training, not another factor like new course assignment. And then external validity, so the extent to which the study's findings can be generalized to a broader populations. For example, if the researcher finds that undergraduates at one university frequently use the library digital resources, external validity would question whether this is also true for undergraduates at other universities. And then face validity, so whether the research appears to measure what it's supposed to measure at the face value. For example, if a survey asks how often do you use libraries ebooks, it seems to be directly addressing the use of digital resources, so which provide the face validity. And then content validity, so ensuring the study covers all aspects of the concept being measured. For instance, in research, library resource use content validity would involve assessing not just ebooks but also database journals and other digital tools. And then creation validity, so it ensuring the validating the tools and methods used for new measurement. That is the meaning of creation validity. So for instance, if a metric for measuring student engagement with library resources is created, this needs to be tested to ensure it's an accurate reflections of engagement. So there are other sub validity are there, so that come under creations validity. First is the predictive validity. It is the ability to predict future behavior based on current data. For instance, if students who frequently attend library workshops are more likely to use advanced resources in the future, the study shows predictive validity. Then concurrent validity is comparing, it is nothing but it is the comparing the research outcomes with another established measure. For instance, the result from the library uses study can be compared with similar studies from other institutions to check for consistency. Then post-active validity, so this is the ability of the study to explain past behavior. So if frequent library users report higher grades from the previous semester, so the study has post-active validity by explaining their past academic performance. And then construct validity, so whether the tool used truly measured the intended theoretical concept. For instance, if the researchers claims to measure academic success, construct validity ensure that this is being captured by variable like GPA, graduation rates, and the library use frequency. So that is the construct validity. And then accuracy is the it involves collecting data that correctly reflects the real world situations For instance, if the study involves conducting the number of times students check out ebooks, the accuracy of those figures is crucial to understanding the usage pattern. And then credibility is nothing but it ensures the findings are believable and trustworthy. So for instance, a credible study on library use might involve triangulating data such as the combining survey results with digital analytics on library websites traffic, ensuring the findings are reliable. And then generalizability is nothing but it refers to how well the results apply to other settings or groups. So for instance, if a study on library use is conducted only with graduate students, generalizability would ask whether the same findings would hold for the undergraduates or faculty. And then empirical research is based on observe and measure phenomena. For instance, a study on how often students use library spaces might use observational methods to collect empirical data by conducting counting the number of students in the library during different types of the day. And then systematic, so research is systematic when it follows a structured and methodical approach. So for instance, a researcher might systematically survey students every semester for 3 years to track changes in library use, ensuring consistency in data collection method. Then control factor. So in control research, so variables that could affect the outcome are kept constant. For instance, in studying the effect of library workshops on resource usage, so the researcher would control for factors like class size, library hours, or student access to technology to isolate the true effect of the workshops. Then cyclical, so research is cyclical, always cyclical, because it often leads to more questions and findings from one study lead to new research. So to understand this, let's take an example. So a study on library users might reveal that students don't use the resources as expected, so leading the researchers to investigate why this is happening in a follow-up study. So that is the cyclical. And then logical, so research follows a logical process where conclusions are drawn based on sound reasoning. So for example, if the data shows that students who attend library workshop use more digital resources, a logical conclusions could be that the workshops are effective in encouraging resources use. So that is the logic that we use in the research. Then replicable, so replicable means to able to be repeated or duplicated, especially in research or experiments. So in other words, if a study experiment is replicable, other researchers can perform the same study using the same methods and obtain similar result. So a replicable study is one that other researchers can repeat using the same methods to verify result. So for instance, if a study on library resource use replicable, another researcher at a different university could follow the same survey and the data collections methods to see if they find similar usage patterns. So that is the replicability in the research. So by adhering to these principles, a study on user behavior in an academic library would be scientifically sound and yield results that are meaningful, accurate, and applicable in other contexts. So these are the characteristics of research that we have understand in the perspective of different example I have taken regarding the field of library and information science. So these are the content that I have to discuss in this video. In the next video, I am going to discuss the positive and positivism approaches to research, and then different philosophical concepts that is associated with the research I have to discuss in the next video, and then different types of research. So thank you so much.